बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, my latest analysis of the situation that is developing in the Middle East. I told you yesterday that what we are saying is a play out, a preface, if you will, and as a student of contemporary global history and politics, I feel that this is a preface or maybe stage one of World War III. These things roll out quickly and are difficult to unroll. Things are moving faster than they did in World War I and World War II. And let me go a little deeper, because my conviction that this is going to be a larger global conflict is playing out by the hour. Even as we speak, the visuals that we got, Israeli rockets targeting, massive targeting, huge targeting of Tehran's main airport. Can we have the latest visuals, please? Full frame, as I mentioned. Full frame visuals, please. Thank you so much, production team. Now, these are full frame visuals, ladies and gentlemen, of the targeting of the Mehrabad airport, Tehran's main airport. This is right by the Shahid 1 base that the Israelis may have been going for. And these visuals should signal to you clearly that this war is not dying out anytime soon. And the reason why I believe that the global war is loading is because you need to see the escalation matrix and the number of countries and the pace of the involvement of more and more countries as the war progresses. On day zero, before the onset of the war, what I call day zero, this was Israel versus Iran, with the rest of the world, including Washington, providing perfunctory support. There were two countries involved. On day one, which was Saturday, the US collaborated with Israel in taking out Khamenei. And the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Jordan became collaterals by way of Iran's retaliation. On day two, which was Sunday, Cyprus and Oman got involved after critical bases of the anti-Iran bloc were attacked as part of Iran's retaliation. By day three, we saw UK, Greece and France being indirectly involved as American bases in the Middle East were being attacked, and we saw the likes of Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron taking clear positions by way of statements. Now we are heading towards day four. And we are told the map will be deployed later. Anyway, when our production teams is able to do that, on day four, the Chinese and the Russians have also got involved. So if we see the total number of countries who have been directly involved, 3, the number of countries indirectly involved due to the attacks, 12, and the number of countries otherwise indirectly involved in terms of strategic interests and statements, 6. Therefore, directly or indirectly, 21 countries have been directly or indirectly involved so far in this ongoing conflict. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we saw two statements from China today. On one single day, we saw two straightforward statements coming in from China, where the Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, pointed out that it is unacceptable for the US and Israel to launch attacks against Iran in the process of ongoing mediations, still less to blatantly attack and target a leader of a sovereign nation and instigate government change. There's a clear and straightforward statement. Also, Russia has got into it already. We saw the statement of March 1st from Putin, a formal condolence telegram to the Iranian President Pezeshkian, where he has said very clearly, he called it a cynical violation of all norms of human morality and international law. Dear viewers of Republic, broadly, my understanding of the situation is this. There are 3 countries directly involved and 18 countries indirectly involved by way of statements or by way of being dragged into the conflict. When 21 countries are involved in 4 days, I'm sure you'll agree with me, this is building up to a global conflict. Is it possible to pull things back? It is. Is it likely that it will be? Truly, we cannot tell.
רמת שלמה פה, כניסה לרמת שלמה פה. הנה הפארק, הרכב, כולם בסדר, אחד יצא.
The bombardment has increased in the last 24 hours. More countries have joined the war on day 4. Iran has attacked US embassies across the Gulf region. In Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain, Iraq, even UAE. Israeli troops have entered Lebanon. The ground offensive has begun. And Iran continues firing ballistic missiles towards central Israel. Beyond the battlefield in the Middle East, an axis is shaping up. Iran, China and Russia, popularly referred to as Crink axis along with North Korea.
美国再次在谈判进程中对伊朗发动袭击，违反国际法和国际关系基本准则，导致中东地区局势骤然升级。中方对此高度关切。中方一贯主张通过对话谈判和平解决伊朗核问题，尊重伊朗和平利用核能的合法权利。注意到伊朗多次重申无意发展核武器，近期同美国开展了认真严肃的谈判。伊朗核问题最终还是要回到政治外交解决轨道。我们呼吁立即停止军事行动，尽快重返对话谈判。
China and Russia, popularly referred to as Crink axis along with North Korea. China has today issued a veiled warning, slamming American-Israeli joint strikes and the killing of Khamenei. Beijing has relied heavily on discounted Iranian oil. Around half of the world's energy supplies have passed through the Strait of Hormuz that go to energy-hungry China, which now stand impacted. Moscow needs Iranian drones for its ongoing war in Ukraine. Together with China, Russia is putting its might behind Iran. Statement after statement, making it clear that Russia and China are increasingly getting active. But will they join the war?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have on our global debate today, we have Nikita Menkovich from Moscow. We have Andrew Leung from Hong Kong. Now, these are strong pro-Russia, pro-China voices on a day when China and Russia are now beginning to get involved in this. Richie Greenberg is a Republican voice and a commentator from San Francisco. Vibhuti Jha is a Republican from California. Adam Scott Bellos is CEO of the Israel Innovation Fund, a strong voice from Israel. And now 21 countries have got involved. Richie, this was supposed to be over in a day. 21 countries have got involved, directly or indirectly. And the fighting continues. And the fighting continues.
I don't think that they've gotten directly. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm just saying that this was before the onset and when it happened. The immediate analysis was that America had won.
No, I think that this was supposed to take more than just a couple of days. President Trump was very clear that this was not going to be over within a couple of days. I think that as soon as the conflict started, he and his administration were pretty straightforward in saying that this could take several weeks, but not necessarily longer than that. We know now, seeing how Iran and the extremist leadership there has reacted to this, that they have decided to go and drag others into the conflict in a sense by going and attacking, sending missiles and drones over to the other Gulf countries that were either neutral or friendly to the United States or friendly to Israel, part of the Abraham Accords. That's very problematic. But I have said this over and over the last couple of days since the conflict started, that I am sure that the Trump administration had seen that this is a possibility, that when they were planning for this strategically, that they had every possible scenario was on their plan to figure what to do if this happens, what to do if that happens. And this is just going along with what they have already taken into account could be a possibility.
Now, sounds a bit convoluted, doesn't it, Richie? Where's the American clarity on this?
I think it's pretty clear. President Trump and his administration, again, the Secretary of War, have been pretty clear. I don't think there's any issue of clarity at all. There's one thing that was very interesting that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, said yesterday in his press conference. There was two things. First of all, when he was asked about what the plans are at this point, he said, why on earth, I'm just paraphrasing, why on earth would he and the government tell the press what they are going to be doing, where the troops are, where any of the attacks are going to be? Why would they disclose that? And secondly, President Trump and the current administration is not clearly the Biden administration, not the Obama administration, as have been failures in the past to deal with Iran and deal with the situation. So Trump is in charge, his administration is in charge, the plan is in charge, coordinating, of course, as we know, with Israel, and the two together and any other of those who want to assist are being brought into the theater, and I think that things are going well.
Why should the world pay a price for Epstein and the American Supreme Court upturning the tariffs issues? Why should the rest of the world pay the price for that?
How about my counterpart in Tel Aviv, if he wants to?
I'm asking. No. See,
all right.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
All right.
Richie. Let me ask you this.
I'm here.
Let me ask you this. See, you must understand now, Richie, that you Americans have a completely different view of the world from anyone else, and that is a unique standpoint. Now, the Chinese have said that you have imposed the law of the jungle, right? And they have said that major countries should not make use of their military advantages to arbitrarily attack other countries. While this is all very convenient for you to have, Rambo 5, Peter Hegseth come and say, we are the richest, biggest, most powerful country. We don't care about the democracy in other countries. Democratic rights are not our concern. We just want what we want. Now, this blew the cover, in my view, of the Americans saying that they were fighting for the rights, democratic rights of Iranian men and women. There was no mention of all that. It was just a clear statement that you want Iranian oil. My question to you is this, that do you believe that the unilateralism of an airstrike can extend beyond a week? Because once, after a week, it gets more complex. You either have to commit ground troops or not. Or you have to understand the regime change is not going to happen. So by that logic, you have 3 days for regime change. And this is a universally accepted verdict. And by the way, don't laugh it off, Richie, because there is very little gap between the Supreme Court, saying that the tariffs are illegal and the decision on Iran. And Trump is a headline grabber. You know it. All of you people in America say that he needs 3 headlines a day to sort of pacify his narcissism. So you have to acknowledge that there is a chronological sequence of events which you cannot laugh over. But now the basic question, let's come down to it. I'm sure you did not believe on Sunday morning that there would be any fight. I'm sure you thought by Monday regime change would be announced. Don't tell me you didn't.
I don't. I did not. No. I disagree with you, Arnab, very politely, respectfully. People, I was alive back when the Islamic imposition of rule occurred in 1979. I remember it very well. I was in last years of high school. There are a lot of individuals out there around the world, but also here in America, who were not born yet or were just were children at that point. Iran and the terrorist regime has been in power in Iran and has been an enemy and declared a war, whether active or not, on the United States and on Israel and pretty much on Western civilization since 1979. There have been skirmishes, there have been attacks, there have been terrorist attacks, there's been backing by Iran on many other, assisting many other countries around the world that has become, as we know, over the years, over the decades, a rogue states and to assist in destabilizing Western society. This is not anything new. And finally, we get to a point that the talks break down. The fear that Iran is going to move whatever production, whatever they have of nuclear or almost usable nuclear grade for missiles, and this is what basically has happened. The time was right. I believe, honestly, it has nothing to do with Epstein. In fact, the hearings are making it look like that he is being exonerated more and more as the days go on. It has nothing to do with Epstein. It's laughable to say this is a cover for Epstein. Also, the tariffs, as you and I, Arnab, and others here on the panel have been talking about for quite a while, the tariffs just need to shift from one category of what the Supreme Court has struck down and redo it. So Richie, there's a lot of pushback. I have a lot of pushback against what you're alleging.
Yeah, no, so good, there's pushback, no problem. There's pushback everywhere in America today. There is so much pushback, there is so much support picking up for saner voices like Gavin Newsom. Saner voices like Gavin Newsom.
No.
Right. Anyway, that's your personal view. Richie, that's your view. Anyway, I don't care about American politics. I just know that there is nothing called a documentation of fear. When you say, Adam, that we have genuine fears of a nuclear bomb from Iran. There is no documentation of the fear. The only precedent that exists is the colossal American lie supported by Tony Blair about the weapons of mass destruction. Let's break this down now. Let's become very logical about this.
Wait, are you quoting me?
I'm quoting confused. The Americans in the past who lied about the weapons of mass destruction.
What does that have to do with the Israeli fear of some type of retaliation or attack by Iran that has happened multiple times over the last 2.5 decades, let alone the fact that the Iranians have killed more Americans than any other state actor.
No, but then you were, but then,
hold on. Excuse me,
Adam, hold on, one point to you. Just one point, and then I'll hand it over to you. You were very much part of the back channel talks with the Americans, right? Using Oman as intermediaries.
No, I was not
with
part
the
of
Iranians, not you, as in Israel was. So there was the back channel dialogue going on, and then you. Why were you having back channel dialogues with a country that is an agent of Satan?
Can I be honest? Since I got onto the program, I've heard nothing but conjecture and conspiracy. And I'm honestly a little disappointed, as I love coming on this program and have been on this program multiple times. I think the most interesting aspect of what you said was so telling, where you said saner voices like Gavin Newsom, who is categorically rejected as any type of leader in the United States at this time, especially after he and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made such a fool out of themselves in Munich and before that in Davos.
That's all right. Don't get provoked by small things.
I'm pretty sure.
I got under your skin. That was said because I wanted to get under Richie's skin, but I got under yours.
No, you didn't get under my skin at all.
I'm the only person on this panel who's lived in China, Israel, and the United States. And I can tell you right now, the freedoms that you find in the United States and the privileges that you find in Israel, you cannot find in China. But you can find Chinese weapons in Gaza. And you can find Chinese weapons in the West Bank. And you can find Chinese weapons in Iran, because that's who's providing intercontinental ballistic missiles to Iran. At the end of the day, no peaceful nuclear program is built underground. No peaceful nuclear program needs intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, enough with the conjecture and the.
You are Adam. I want to say, Adam. I want to say something to you. I want to say something to you. I want to say something to you. You are an Israeli, right? And as an Israeli, you must know that successive Israeli regimes have said that there are two Islamist nations which are very dangerous to the world. One is Iran and the other is Pakistan. Your American friends provide all kinds of fighter jets to Pakistan. They do crypto deals, and they call the man who was giving Osama bin Laden a safe haven into the White House for lunch. So before you get all emotional and sentimental about the Americans, please understand that you can't. History tells you may be proven wrong. The Americans can backstab you tomorrow.
The Americans could backstab us tomorrow, but
you're getting over-dependent on them.
The current administration that's in power would actually never do that, and it would be against kind of their ethos or their ideological state of mind, so to speak, or what this administration's foreign policy ideology is. In addition to that, Pakistan is in an extremely precarious place, given their defense pact with Saudi Arabia. And the fact is that Saudi Arabia has joined this fight against Iran as well. In addition to that, the gentleman from San Francisco made another excellent point about how Iran is trying to bring others into this. Let's be honest. Let's look at the map of the Middle East since October 7th, okay? Without going crazy or flailing or sensationalism. The map of the Middle East looks completely different than it did before. All of Iran's proxies have been basically destroyed, okay? If they haven't been, they're on their way down. I'm sure in the next few coming days, Hezbollah will be completely dismantled, okay? No one said that this was going to take 3 days. It's always been said since the beginning of this that it's going to take about a month. In addition to that, I was here in Tel Aviv every single time Iran attacked Israel. And I can tell you right now, while more rockets maybe have gotten through because of the cluster bombings that they're doing, which are illegal according to international law, and we have videos of what those bombings look like here, it is a much more, I would say, from a millennial vocabulary, a much more chill situation. Okay, we're not being kept up at night all day long Okay, we're not up all day long. We're not up all night long. Okay.
Okay.
More
now
hits have happened, yes.
Now,
but the frequency of the bombing is not. We're looking at a totally neutered Iranian regime, and you know why? You know, one of the things that you said earlier was that if in 3 days there isn't a regime change, then it's not going to happen. The Iranian people have been rising up.
I wish to bring to your attention, and see, I have no bone to pick in this fight. I'm just like a neutral guy looking at things. And
you're not being neutral.
I mean, I don't want to be fake neutral. I don't want to be fake neutral, but I'll tell you one thing. See, Trump's popularity is under question, and people need to get real about it. I'll tell you how the rest of the... let me say, don't... See, Adam, you are getting unnecessarily irritated by
No, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, good. So I'll make it louder. What I'm saying is that there was a poll which said 55% of Republicans approved of the strikes, but the same poll said that 42% of Republicans will be less likely to support this if the campaign in Iran leads to, and I quote, US troops in the Middle East being killed or injured. Being killed or injured. Trump's presidential approval rating ticks slightly lower than 39%, 1 percentage point below a Reuters Ipsos poll conducted on 18th to 23rd of February. Please get real. Let's not live in an echo chamber. Domestic American politics will have an impact and will be impacted as a result of what is happening in the Middle East.
It depends on how everything
turns out. I now throw open to the Chinese side and to the Russian side, and of course to our very own General Bakshi on this. Nikita, you're an angry young man. Yesterday you were very, very angry, very furious. You gave a contrary point of view. How are things looking today?
The things look the same way, because it is not about Russia or China. A lot of other countries in the world, including Brazil, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Korea, other countries, condemn terrible aggression of what we call Epstein coalition against Iran. We may like or dislike Iran regime and its policy, but it is an independent country. And more than 100 children in MENA, they are not responsible for any kind of policy or opinions. They were just children. They had right to live. But American terrorists came to Iraq to kill.
That was proven to be the work of the IRC.
We're speaking about your criminal activity.
Actually, that was proven that it wasn't the Americans
to defend yourself at the court.
That was false.
But now it's not up to you. We're discussing.
It's not about that. What you just said was completely false. The school was not bombed by the Israelis or the Americans.
Please stop interrupting me, guy. Don't be in a car.
You need to be able to. You're going to interrupt you and say something that's completely false. What you just said is completely false.
And a lawyer to defend yourself. But now
what you said was false. The Israelis and the Americans did not bomb that school. It was done by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards.
And United States. The problem is that more than 20 countries involved because they had United States military base on those territories. It is a problem because American terrorists can act from the territory of Arabia, Emirates, and other countries. The easiest solution is to move all American bases away. Even Spain demanded guarantees from United States that no military bases in the Spain territory will be used against Iran. Because even Spain, a NATO member, doesn't want to take part in criminal aggression against independent country, in killing children in Iran. So, what should we discuss? How to move all these American bases away from the other countries. If United States want to be aggressive, do it in your country. It is not our problem. What you think about democracy, what you think about child molesting, it's your inside problems. Leave us alone. So I think
let's have a serious debate, please.
Journalists should demand Americans go home, leave our countries. We don't need your soldiers. We don't need your so-called humanitarian programs. We don't need all kind of your activity because it's a part.
Does this also apply to Ukraine? Does this apply to Ukraine?
This is a joke. Listening to this
does this whole speech about territorial? 1 minute, Nikita. Does this diatribe against territorial expansionism and rule of the law, etc., apply in the context of Ukraine?
As you remember, Ukraine is under American occupation, and people of Ukraine fighting together with the Russian army against
now that's an overstatement, please. See, Putin wants to be. Putin wants to be. 1 minute. Nikita, just like Trump. 1 minute, please. Nikita. Nikita, you are getting carried away. Just like Trump wants to be Caesar. Just like Trump wants to be Caesar, Putin wants to be Peter the Great. Everybody has their own little legacy to create. And I would like to ask Andrew.
Mr. Arnab, what would you
Mr.
do?
Nikita, what is it?
The United States will kill your child, as it was. And
my question is, just 1 minute. Nikita, thank you. Nikita, 1 minute. See, the situation in Iran is less clear. After the very public kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, General Bakshi, the interim president Delcy Rodriguez, who was earlier vice president, was appointed. Trump says she's wonderful. Well, he also said the same thing about Maria Corina Machado, who gave the Nobel Prize to him in the hope that she would become the president, but he chose Rodriguez. There was a change of guard and a predictable handover in Venezuela. However, General Bakshi, did Trump's inner circle mislead him into thinking that Iran is like Venezuela?
Sorry, are you asking me?
To General Bakshi.
Arnab, let me be a little, thank you. Let me be a little blunt and straightforward. Take a look at Donald Trump's record. He dodged the draft in Vietnam. And we are quite surprised that he is, after the age of 80, quite intent upon starting not one but a series of wars. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize like anything. But 8 countries have been attacked since he came into power. He has had Maduro kidnapped in a very, very piratic act. He's threatening to attack Cuba. He's threatening to capture Greenland. He's threatening to take Canada as the 51st state of the United States. And I don't know, the list just goes on and on. The simple fact is, he is stuck in a time warp in the last century. He thinks America is still a unipolar world order. I'm afraid it has changed. Things have moved on. It is a multipolar world order now. The Chinese and the Russians did not want to intervene in America's backyard, so they wisely have kept out. But Iran is not America's backyard. Iran is not Venezuela. Let me be even more blunt. Venezuela is quite well known for Miss Universe, Miss World pageantry. They're not known as fighters. Even that could change. You know, it's still a long cry from you getting your, people inside and getting the oil out without boots on the ground. As a military analyst, I would like to understand how you hope to have a regime change in Iran without putting boots on the ground, trying to do it cheap by just an air campaign. It hasn't worked. It's not likely to work. Your killing of the Ayatollah has only rallied the Iranian people around the flag. That's what happens in any country with any modicum of self-respect. Any modicum of self-respect. Number two, Iran's strategy is simple. They have decentralized their command and control. 1 hour after the strike in which 48 top people were killed, they started retaliating. They are continuing to retaliate fairly effectively.
But how much firepower do they have? How much, General Bakshi, however much one can rate, yes, compared to Venezuela, they are a bigger military force. But you are dealing with the United States of America. There is no comparison. Yeah. The staying power is much, much more. China and Russia will want the war to end because an immediate end to the conflict works in the interests of the current Iranian regime. But why should Israel and America and even Saudi Arabia, who look upon this as one great opportunity to crush Iran once and for all and change the strategic balance, why should they agree? And the very fact that the Chinese are asking for an immediate end to the war, isn't that really China speaking on Iran's behalf? Iran is being very, gung-ho about it, saying we'll fight till the end of the earth. But if that were to be the case, why are the Chinese pleading for peace on their behalf?
Arnab, I'll be very frank once again. 50% of our oil, 60% of our natural gas, 50% of our oil, 60% of India's natural gas comes via the Gulf of Hormuz. It is hurting us. You leave alone China, you leave alone anybody else. I am not about to join the fan club of Donald Trump. We have to worry about our own national interests. Iran's strategy is simple. Economic warfare. They have blocked the Gulf of Hormuz. The price of oil is going to go up to $100 a barrel. When it does reach $100 a barrel, inflation rates in the United States would be 4.5%, up from 2.6% now. If it goes up, the price of oil goes up to $130 a barrel in the United States, the inflation rate would be 6%. The price of oil for my good American friend could easily be $7 to $8 a gallon. That's going to hurt the American people. That is going to hurt the American economy. That is going to hurt the global economy, India included. I am here to look after, or we are here to look after the interests of our country. Right? And I'm afraid an extended war hurts Indian economy badly. We've got a 10 million diaspora.
Is this only about the immediate...
countries.
But General Bakshi...
Gulf countries are getting...
But General Bakshi, I asked the Chinese, let me ask Andrew. Andrew, is it only about the economic immediate impact, or is it about the losing the strategic balance forever? Let's consider how serious this is for China. Suppose the Americans directly or indirectly control the Straits of Hormuz. Then the whole question of China ever achieving strategic parity with the United States goes out of the window. And the problem with the Chinese is, Andrew, that the Chinese are not a fighting military machine. They are a holding operation. They are a defensive military machine. They have not seen combat. Please don't mind my being a little direct about it. But as the Chinese yourself, you have not seen combat. You're not a combat-hardened military, And therefore, you'll have to be very careful about this. Yes, Andrew.
Okay, thank you. Well, if I'm allowed to respond finally.
Yes, please.
Well, first of all, China, even Russia, does not want a nuclear Iran any more than any other countries. Because if Iran becomes nuclear, it will spark off all the nuclearization, countries clamoring to possess the nuclear bomb, including China's neighbor, Japan. That's not in China's interest. So that's point number one. Point number two, of course, China does not subscribe to, and many other countries as well, using decapitation as a kind of tool. This flies in the face of not only international law, but the norms which govern the stability of the world. I mean, if that can be used against Iran, against an enemy, what about other perceived enemies of the United States? What about China? What about Russia? So I think that's why China is making it quite clear, opposing this kind of action. Not that they would like to support a nuclear Iran. Third, and then on the question of energy, people think that China's economy would be totally shattered because it depends on oil from the Middle East. Of course, it depends on oil from the Middle East. But then, if we look at the percentages of China's external oil supply, the largest contributor to China's energy is Russia. And of course, the Russian oil doesn't pass through the port of Hormuz. Now, even though Iran accounts for a significant proportion, maybe it's not 30%, it's not even 30%, it's not even 20%, it's something like maximum maybe 15%. Now, of course, other Middle East countries also supply oil to China, and all this would go through the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz. But don't forget that Iran, of course, is a friendly ally of China, and I don't think that Iran will necessarily block oil shipments destined for China. So I don't think that China would be totally rattled. But on the other hand, neither China nor Russia want to have a kinetic war with the United States, not because they fear the United States that much, but because that would lead to a total annihilation of the whole world.
Okay,
I think that one final point. What kind of strategy Iran is using? Iran is, of course, very weak. Its economy lies in tatters. But the rhetoric that people are rising up in the streets has not happened. Because with this invasion, with this slap in the face, as highlighted by colleagues on this panel, any kind of self-respecting Iranians would rally behind the government, even though they oppose a lot of them oppose the Khamenei regime, but that's not the majority. So you don't see the people rising up in the street. So what kind of end game the United States is aiming? Then the only weapon, very powerful weapon.
Vibhuti, what's the end game? Is there an end game? Is there an end game, Vibhuti? That's a clear point. Is there an end game, Vibhuti?
And I want to bring in certainly a totally different aspect. Yes.
Of the streets of Tehran.
This alludes to your statement, Arnab, which was very valid. Very valid statement.
Inaccurate statement. There have been almost 80,000 people. The highest number is about 100,000. The lowest number is about 50,000 civilians that have been killed in the last number of weeks protesting this government. The only thing that Obama has actually said that he did wrong with Iran was that he didn't support the Green Revolution, and Sunnah supported the Green Revolution because they wanted to. They could have overthrown the Ayatollahs at that time. I actually know that for a fact from his deputy secretary of state. Time out.
Adam,
what is going on right now is a complete mischaracterization of what's happening on the ground in Tehran at this time. Excuse me, don't interrupt me. 1 second, I'm going to make this point. Okay, that was total pure Chinese CCP propaganda. At the end of the day, there is so much strategic interest that the Communist Party of China has in Iran. They've spent billions of dollars propping up this regime. They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars of weapons and intercontinental ballistic missiles to the Islamic regime. Okay, there is no way, shape, or form this regime stands 60 days from now, causing a huge cataclysmic geopolitical shift. And at the end of the day, Russia will abandon the Chinese because they will still need their relationship with the rest of the Middle East over China.
Okay. Can I jump in here? My point is different here. Look, there are factual errors in several assessments. China, when it talks about, international law, it's laughable matter. The prime violator of all international laws. Why China and Russia want this war to end is because they have just now lost Venezuela and they don't want to lose another ally in Iran.
Yeah.
And that's the important part. The second part is very important again, is that this is a war, if you see the alignment, you call the country group as Crink. It is virtually alignment of communist nations and Islamist nations versus democracy and freedom-loving countries. There's a very important point here, Arnab, and that point is that if you notice India included, what India and United States must worry about is the penetration of Islamists and communists in our democratic freedom framework and systematically abusing freedom as the fault line of democracy. For them, it is a significant operating standard. I don't grant you freedom, but I want all of it because you give it.
See,
this is the clash here.
Vibhuti.
Thank you.
Vibhuti, Vibhuti, may I remind you that most Americans think today that the word they have misused, two words have been misused by the Americans the most, in a most cynical way. And one is democracy and the other is freedom. Using these two words, you've carried out your neo-imperialism, much to your disadvantage. You went to
Wait, it's not
the fact is, well, I mean, just 1 minute. The abiding image I have, the abiding image, and learn, listen, Adam, listen. The abiding image I have, is the song Saigon, with the images of the Americans running away from Vietnam. Now superimpose that song on the images of the Afghans holding on to the wheels of the American transport plane that fled Kabul airport. Please do not tell me you did not even save the lives of your own translators. Vibhuti, I'm happy you're living the American dream. I'm happy you're living the American dream, but right now, let me tell you, freedom and democracy are misplaced words. Since you, I recommend Adam that you read a book called Spy Masters, in which it is.
I don't need you to recommend.
You need to read the book Spy Masters, the complex relationship between CIA chiefs and American presidents, including one CIA chief called George Bush, who went on to be an American president, and that will tell you the whole truth. You must do some navel gazing now. You must do some navel gazing. You must do some navel gazing, my friend.
Do you support an Islamist communist regime to happen in India, America, Israel, or the rest of the world? That's the question that we need to answer here, with all seriousness and with all serious intent. Which is the preferable one?
I would respond. See, I have no bone to pick in this fight. I have no bone to pick in this fight. All I will say to you, esteemed gentlemen, is this: I lost my I had an Iranian guest who ran away because you were all behaving so badly with me. They saw that. Where is my guest from Iran? He saw the way you guys were behaving and he went away. I just wish to say this.
What's going on in reality?
I just wish to say this.
There is another very important point.
I just now the most
who went for Gaza and Palestine support.
Vibhuti.
Where are they today for supporting?
Why are you trying to heckle me? Why are you heckling me? Let me tell you.
We're not heckling you. Just the
you guys are just having a good time. My point is, on a very serious note, I believe the most.
If I'm watching this program I'm going to think that the host itself supports Islamism and communism based on some of the things that you're saying.
Right. Now,
listen, I understand the need to make hyperbolic statements.
Listen. I think the most Islamist, Adam, 1 minute. The most Islamist, pro-terrorist country in the world is Pakistan, and that is a country that has your abiding support. General Bakshi.
Exactly, that is the point. There is a lot of hypocrisy about. Please let me have my say. I'd love to listen to you. Look, as I was saying, the epicenter of Islamic terrorism is Pakistan. We've had the Field Marshal of Pakistan, Mullah Omar, Asim Munir, visit Washington 3 times in the last 3 months. 3 times in the last 3 months. For 40 years, it has been the epicenter of terrorism. Now, what has been done about it?
Okay, General Bakshi, I now have with us Dr. Fuad Izadi. Dr. Fuad Izadi is joining us, and it's very important to get an Iranian voice, because neither the Indians, nor the Russians, nor the Chinese are speaking for Iran. Let there be an Iranian voice on the program tonight. Dr. Fuad Izadi, first broad question to you. Is there any leader in Iran today who's taking the decisions? Who is taking the decisions? One, why is Iran attacking so many other countries? Why is it attacking civilian targets like Dubai Airport?
With regard to the first question, thank you for having me. We have in our constitution a setup. If the leader of the country is not able to function for whatever reason, there is a committee of 3 people, the president, the head of judiciary, and a member of the Guardian Council. They form a leadership committee. They formed that committee on the day that the leader was illegally assassinated by American and Israeli terrorists. And they're running the job of the leader. They're doing the job of the leader. We are going to have a new leader in a few days. The Assembly of Experts in Iran is a body of 88 people elected directly by the general public. They are in charge of electing the leader. They'll do that in a few days.
Donald Trump made an announcement, Dr. Izadi, Donald Trump made an announcement saying that he will support armed groups in Iran. In other words, if groups break away from the IRGC or pick up arms against the current Iranian regime, they will be supported by the Americans. Do you think the IRGC will break up? Do you think the Iranian armed forces will break up and turn against the Committee of 3 that is currently ruling Iran?
No, because they don't want to be foot soldiers for the Epstein class. We are dealing people who rape little American girls and bomb and kill little Iranian girls. This is what we have. And nobody in Iran is interested in working for the Epstein class. They know who Trump is. They know who Netanyahu is. These are war criminals. These are genocidal people. The average IQ in Iran is no less than average IQ internationally.
How many of your own
realize
people,
what's going on?
How many of your own people have you killed in the last 8 weeks?
I saw the garbage. I saw the garbage we were talking about.
Fuad. Dr. Izadi.
This is garbage. This is Israeli propaganda.
Other voices down, Iranian up. Thank you.
This is garbage. This is garbage. This is Israeli propaganda. We have something called fact-checking.
Okay.
The Iranian government, the Iranian... Shut up for a minute. Shut up for a minute, okay?
Stop.
1 minute.
The Iranian government
Adam, I have one question. I have one very important question for our Iranian guest. Let us show some. I have one question. Adam, since he's joined only in the last few minutes, can I request you, can we show the courtesy? Just one question I have for him, which will be relevant. My question to you, Dr. Izadi, is this. By February 2025, Iran had 605 pounds of uranium enriched to 60% purity, nearly double the 67.9 pounds it had a year before, which means you were on the brink of nuclear weapons capability. These are established numbers. Surely you cannot counter them. You were on your way and almost reaching nuclear weapons capability, while engaging in talks, not promising not to at the same time. Am I wrong?
You know, I don't know if you saw the interview of the Omani foreign minister with CBS News. He said that an agreement was available within 24 hours, his words. If we had an agreement, Iran would give that amount away. And the United States government decided to attack Iran instead of having a political agreement, which is understandable. If you want to change a country's government,
I will take this forward. There were 3 rounds of talks. They collapsed. Both sides' red lines were incompatible. These are historical facts. We don't know which way, who to believe. But today there are no guardrails in place, and we are in a multilateral conflict. Now, this has been both an entertaining, energetic, quarrelsome, and controversial debate. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is in these situations that we're able to distill some facts on both sides. Nobody is completely right and nobody is completely wrong. But Republic will present all the sides and be cynical to all. Ladies and gentlemen, see you tomorrow. Good night and goodbye.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
In the India Today Best Universities Survey, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School Bengaluru.
Sir, what about safety from fire? Cable कौन सा लगाया है?
अरे केबल का क्या है, कोई भी चलता है.
यही चलता है, बाद में जलता है. 90% of the electrical fires are caused due to short circuit. Give lot of importance to consider fire safe cable. Ignamo, the fire safe cables from Dravid. Remember, business is safe if your cable is fire safe.
R Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो.
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता. टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस. विद यू लाइक फैमिली. विद यू ऑलवेज.
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से. MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से.
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोबूट का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना. लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है. यानी ये है जहां.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami.
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से. MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से.
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा.